most couples, it's not as if we don't understand this issue of oneness. The only problem is that most of the time we keep that oneness just between the two of us. We don't allow members of our family to know that we are one. We are afraid to say it publicly. We are afraid to show it to our parents. Maybe because obviously some of our parents who are not born again don't understand this, because if you look at oneness in its entirety, it's not part of the African culture. And because of that, we normally like to keep it to ourselves. And I remember that when we just got married, actually I was afraid of this issue of oneness being open. And I know that most of the time when we are talking about oneness, I will start talking about the different areas of oneness. A lot of people are afraid. For example, if you talk about oneness in money, say, no, if my husband dies now, the family members will come and say, this thing belongs to our brother, this thing belongs to our son, and they will come and pack it. And it happens in our culture. But I've discovered that the reason why all of that happens is because from the very beginning, we don't make our oneness known to everybody. So just like Brother Mike said, I also want to say that I also want to look at that issue of oneness from coming out of our different cultures, coming out of our different backgrounds, even coming out of our different family settings, so to say, cleaving to one another, but not stopping there, making it known to everybody who cares to know that we are one. I'll give a practical example. I remember that when we first got married, of course, we had discussed that and we had agreed we are going to do everything together. Even before we got married, we had been practicing this oneness right immediately we got engaged. And then I think my mother-in-law asked him for money, and he said, it's okay, I'll get to you. We discussed it, and when he was going to give the mother money, he gave it to me to go and give to her. And I went to give it to her. She was happy, she thanked me, so to say. And after I left, she became very angry. What is the meaning of this? Does it mean I cannot collect something from my son without his wife knowing? This is my son. I have a right to collect something from him without the knowledge of his wife. So she became very angry. And she reported my husband to everybody and all of that. And there was this particular aunt of my husband that she reported him to. And that auntie, also a born-again Christian with her husband. So she came and said, I understand what you are doing. I know it's oneness. But you know, this our people don't understand. And so that we will not step on their toes, why don't you practice your oneness between yourselves? And not necessarily step on their toes. The next time you want to give them something, yes, discuss it, decide on what you want to do, but you be the one to give it so that they will not be angry. And my husband said, no way. Please go back and tell my mother that if she's ever going to collect anything from me, she will collect it from my wife. If she feels that it is an insult to collect something from my wife, then let her know that she will not collect anything from me again. So of course, me, I was afraid. I said, let's not do it like that. I don't want trouble. We just got married. Let's do it the way they do it, so that it can be the way. But he insisted and said no. And you know, at the beginning of doing such things, they actually didn't understand. There was a lot of confrontation. There was a lot of friction, you know. But as time went on, they just agreed that, oh, this is the way these people want to do their own. We better do it with them, so that you know. But of course, it was only a matter of just a very short while. By the time they understood it, they discovered that they are the ones that are actually enjoying it more. So they came to relax. To the extent that later they now came to say, this kind of thing that you are doing, why don't you teach your younger ones how to do it? That is the benefit of staying together as one and making it known to everybody.
I happen to know that my mother is not a witch. I want to ask my wife to make an input quickly before I will come to Sister Jessica on the issue. How have you dealt with this mother-in-law issue?
Lord. Praise the Lord. And it is true that in our African culture, most people view, even those who are not witches, we view them with one long hand like that, and that's how we treat them. And for most people, we even treat them as if, this woman, she wants to come and intrude in our marriage. If your husband's mother comes, say, they have come, and all of that. And I always tell people, there's no problem. Label your mother-in-law witch. Somebody else is coming to label you to a witch. Abi, if you also have a son who will marry a daughter, she will also come and label you a witch. But the truth of the matter is that I discovered that, well, I think that we normally have problem with our mother-in-laws because practically we don't really know how to handle them. That's what I think. That's what I have discovered. When I was going to get married, it's not as if I was received with open arms. My husband's parents didn't want him to marry from my tribe, even though we are from the same states. But they felt that these people from your own town are bad people, because somebody from only God knows how many generations before from my own town had married from them and misbehaved. So their great grandfather left a curse and said anybody that marries from that side of the town, something bad will happen. So they have not been marrying from where I came from. So it was a little difficult at the beginning, and they were watching me, you know, like that. After begging, praying, doing all that, they didn't have a choice. They accepted me, but it was not with open arms. But I don't know how God helped me. The first thing is that I told myself from the very beginning, I don't know, and it's not even as if we had a lot of trainings. These people are very lucky. They had trainings, just like I tell our children, you people are very, very blessed. You are having trainings. We didn't really have, but God just decided to have mercy on us. And I just told myself, this man and this woman, who are my husband's parents, they must like me. I have not come as a daughter-in-law. I have come as a daughter. So I took it up first and foremost in the place of prayer. I started praying, God, grant me favor. Lord, grant me favor. That was even before we got married. Once I knew that they didn't like where I came from, I had a prayer point. I started praying and begging God for favor. And God answered my prayers. But you see, the issue is that when we had our first child and my mother-in-law came, you know, most of the time when the mother-in-law comes to visit you, immediately you see her, something goes out of you. I see, hey, trouble has come, and you are, you know, that kind of thing. And the woman has come, she's still sitting down. Instead of you to sit down and gist with her, you are running all over the place. You are trying to cook this food and try to cook that food and say, Mama, welcome, oh, I'm coming, oh. You are not talking to her. The mama is just sitting down watching you running up and down. And then after that, when her son eventually sits down to talk with her, what do you think will happen? She will sit down and gist and talk. So I learned how to handle my mother-in-law. When she comes, I'm not ready to cook any food at all. I'm ready to gist. So I will sit down with her. Every talk that she brought, I will collect it from her mouth. So I will talk, I will ask, what about this uncle? What about that brother? I discovered that, you see, whether it's your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, or your husband's siblings, there is nobody who will resist love. If you show them love and show them concern, it's only a matter of time they will open up to you. So I will sit down with her, I will ask about that uncle, and the woman is wondering, are you concerned about that? I will ask about that my sister-in-law that has been doing WAEC and has not passed. I will say, so what are we going to do now? How shall we solve this problem? I will talk about that grandfather. I will talk about all of them round. Of course, because we are one, everything that is happening there is coming to download, so I know everything. So when the mama comes and I'm asking and I'm showing concern, I say, Mama, we are praying about that issue and I'm trusting God that God will help us. And she's at the beginning wondering, what kind of a person is this? Which kind of concern? Because most daughter-in-laws don't show such concern. Things happening to them in your husband's side does not concern you. You are just keeping them as if they are intruders. No, I didn't see my in-laws as intruders. I didn't. I took them just the way the Bible says. We are no longer two but one. So this woman is my mother. So the same way I will treat my mother, I prayed and God gave me grace to handle my mother-in-law. So we will talk and gist. They'll say, mommy, you must be hungry now. Say, mommy, please, can you follow me to the kitchen? And then she's wondering, follow you to the kitchen. This one is different. Which kind of daughter-in-law is this one? But you know, she too doesn't want trouble, so she will follow me to the kitchen. And then I am cooking. I'm not asking her to do anything, but you see, she's sitting down with me. So discussion continues. As I'm cutting this one, I'm still talking. As I'm doing that one, I'm still talking. And you know, little by little, I started to cultivate a relationship, a mother-daughter relationship with her. The same thing with my husband's siblings. I will deliberately go and tickle one and say, you like this. When I have made my hair and I go to the family house, say, did you not see that I just made my hair? Will you not pay for it? I was making deliberate efforts to cultivate a relationship with each and every one of them. And somehow I followed that up with a lot of prayers. And God helped me. Before anybody knew what was happening, I have entered inside them. They have just relaxed. Say, so it's not everybody from that your town that is as bad as we thought. And they started to relax. And God helped us. The same thing with my father-in-law. When God was going to give me a final breakthrough with him, mommy traveled out of the country to do omugo with one of our sisters. So daddy was the only one at home with these small girls cooking. So from time to time, me like this, I will just go to the market, I will cook very good food, and then I will carry it to the man. The first time the man said, for me alone. Of course he was surprised, because we were living in the same town anyway, so it was a little easy. I'll carry the food, and then another time I will cook very good vegetable, I will carry it. And before the Baba knew what was happening, I had entered inside him. And I mean, they just relaxed. From time to time, I will just carry my phone. I will say, I want to talk to this man. I'm showing concern. I'm showing care. I will call. Say, hey, what is? I say, no, nothing, Daddy. I just want to greet you. How are you doing? If it is raining where I'm living, I say, Daddy, it's raining here. Is it raining there? I hope you are keeping yourself warm. Just deliberately cultivating a relationship. Of course, it didn't take a long time before I became a daughter in the house. I must say this: when we got married, as part of our deliberateness and oneness, we decided not to use that language of mother-in-law and father-in-law. We told ourselves there is no in-law as far as we are concerned. So instead of saying your mother, we will say our mother from, because our parents were living in two different towns. So we say our mother from this town, or our mother from that town, you know. And since we started that from the very beginning, it was not difficult for us to adjust to it. And because we decided to make it, like I said earlier, because we decided to make it known and opened to all of them, very soon all of them started to adjust, to the extent that if I call my father-in-law now and I put this phone on speaker, do you know how he calls me? My darlingest darling. My darlingest darling. That's how he refers to me. We are that close.
I am going to tie up what we have done today. I want to highlight the fact that particularly when we are talking about our oneness as husband and wife, our oneness as husband and wife is not necessarily to the exclusion of our previous family members. The only thing is that we must not allow them to become an intruder, just like we just had in the seminar that we finished. Our oneness actually becomes an advantage to our family if we go together to go and meet them. The important thing is that we must not allow them to come in between us, but But if you don't want them to come in between you, the two of you together must go out and reach out to them.